Well, let's talk about Boys in the Hood because, I mean, it wasn't just the movie. It was a cultural shift. It really, really was. I even still think about that now when I'm thinking about John Singleton. And just,
I miss him so much. Oh, gosh.
I hate that I didn't get a chance to work with him, especially because so much of his work, especially now that so much time has passed, it was like documentary narrative.
Absolutely. And it was on film.
It was
on
just
film.
It's incredible to
I
just
know.
think about the way that he was exposing what was happening in the world in this way that is very pop culture, but has so much depth. But I found it interesting that you at first, before knowing he was directing it, kind of like unsure if this was a movie that you wanted to do, which I think is really cool because it's like, hey, who's telling this story?
Who's telling the story? I mean, we had Spike Lee in New York.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we didn't really have our LA director yet. Everyone was kind of it was marinating and percolating, but it hadn't landed
percolate.
yet. Yeah, right. And so when I got the call, I said, John Singleton, well, that doesn't necessarily sound black to me. And I said to my agent, I said, oh, is this some white guy trying to tell the story about where I live and what we do? So I get the script, Boys in the Hood. I'm like, okay, what kind of title is this? Because I'm living in South Central at this time.
Yep.
I read the script. I couldn't put it down. And it was the realest, most honest thing that I had ever read about young, urban, Black culture. Mm-hmm. And so I remember just saying to my agent, I'm like, is this director white or Black? Because from where I stood, I didn't meet very many Black directors.
Right.
And sure enough, on a rainy day, I walked in the casting room and there he was. And I just was like, hi. And he's like, who are you? And I was like, who are you? Because I didn't know it was him. And he got right up in my face. And I was like, I know this guy is not trying to holler at me at the audition. This cannot be what's happening right now. And he said, I'm John Singleton, the director. And I go, oh, hi. I turned real sweet. Code switch.
Okay. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so happy to meet you.
John
Singleton. And, you know, I did the audition and I walked out of there not knowing what was going to happen. But the thing that I appreciated about him most is his commitment to truth. Every character in that film, in some sort of way, had a connection to the real person.
Yeah.
In a real authentic way, right? Mm-hmm. And so there wasn't a lot of acting required. It was more about being vulnerable.
Wow. So he's kind of one of those directors that lets you interpret the scene?
Well, I think he could see pieces of the actors, pieces of the character in who he cast. So because he wanted to know everyone's story. You didn't just come in and audition. It was like a therapy session. At one point, I think I even cried because he was like, so tell me about your life. So I go on, I tell him my life. And then I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, what about your dad? And I remember I just started crying because it was still very raw for me at that time. And I just thought, oh, wow, he hit a nerve.
That is really before the time, meaning that type of casting, that meta type of narrative storytelling that's coinciding with the storyline. I feel like we see a lot of that now, but that was not happening then.
No.